Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sisters. I am your man and resident Washington football team fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report. Live. Got a lot to get to tonight. Obviously, the schedule has been released, and I don't love the schedule. We knew it was going to be tough going into the schedule. We knew we had to face Mahomes. We knew we had to face Justin Herbert. We knew we had to face Aaron Rodgers. We knew we had to face Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, okay? We knew we had to face Josh Allen. We knew it was going to be tough. We knew that, okay? What we couldn't have planned for, what we couldn't have prepared for, was for 5 NFC East games in the final 5 weeks of the season. That we could not have prepared ourselves for. So I'm not in love with that. I'd be lying if I told you I was terrified of the schedule. It's a brutal schedule. But this is what happens when you win the division, okay? You can't win the division and talk about all the things that you want to build and talk about how all the spoils go to the victor, and then when the consequences come from that, now you want to run. I ain't running. I ain't scarried, as a wise man once said. I ain't scarried. I'm just telling you, shit's tough. However, iron sharpens iron. If we really want to go where we say we want to go, these are the types of schedules you're going to have to find a way to navigate. And I'm not saying we got to win all of these games. But like last year, what I'm looking for is the same thing that we got last year. I want it again this year. Okay? And that's a resiliency, a level of toughness, knowing that, hey, I just played Washington. Okay? Those boys are physical. We were in a ball game. And I want to see a team that never quits. And I think we're going to see that. I feel confident in saying that, because of what Ron showed me last year and what this team, this DNA that this team is made up of, they showed me a lot last year in terms of fight. There were several games last year where I know if it was Jay Gruden's bunch, they would have quit. They would have checked out. If it was the Shanahan clan at the end of his reign, they would have quit. Those boys didn't quit last year. And there were several opportunities for them to say, you know what? We'll get them next week. The Arizona game in week number 2, you coming off of this major high of beating Philadelphia, and you coming back from a 17-0 deficit, and you rally back, score 27 unanswered, and win that game, and then you're down 20-0 at halftime to the Arizona Cardinals. Nothing can go right. They could have quit in that game. Now, the final score isn't indicative of how they fought, 30-15, but they fought in that game. I think of games like Carolina, nothing could go right. Should have probably gotten blown out a lot worse in that game, but they fought. Heineke came in, and I actually thought we got jobbed on a call late in that game that took away a touchdown, but that's no here nor there. They fought in that game. The Seattle game, you're down 20-0 at the first possession of the third quarter is a 50-yard Carlos Hyde run. You're down 20-0. We could have quit in that game. Nothing had gone right to that point of the game. And that was with Dwayne Haskins at quarterback. And we had the football on the move with the chance to win that game in the final stages and lost 20-15. There are a lot of those games that I can point to say, this team didn't quit. There was a lot of fight. The Detroit game is probably one of my favorite games that we did not win of the season. Because I remember being in the MOBB. Stand up. We in the building. If you out there and you a mob member, all right? If you a part of the mob squad, stand up. We in the building. I remember being in that chat. And a lot of y'all wanting to give up and how Ron this and this team that, and we're so terrible, and we need to get a quarterback, and we need to tank the rest of the season. I remember those conversations being had. And I remember very vividly saying, hey, fellas, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm willing to fight if y'all willing to fight. I just want to see some fight. Don't go cowardly and go off meekly into the night. I just want to see some fight. I said, I'm here with y'all. If y'all willing to go, I'm willing to go. And in that second half, Alex Smith rallied us back to tie that game up at 27. So I saw fight from this team. I want to see it again because the level of competition, I will admit, this past year pales in comparison. We really didn't see too many good quarterbacks on the schedule last year. Let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck with one another. We didn't see a lot of good quarterbacks. We saw Matthew Stafford, we saw Ben Roethlisberger, and we saw Tom Brady in the playoffs. Outside of Roethlisberger and Stafford, Kyler Murray, and I guess you could throw Baker Mayfield in there. He had a pretty solid season, but no one was afraid. When we looked at the schedule, we weren't looking at Baker Mayfield saying, oh my God, it's Baker Mayfield. I mean, we got them early in the season before they even knew who they were. It was essentially Kyler Murray. It was Matthew Stafford. It was Ben Roethlisberger. I think that's the short list of quarterbacks that we faced last season that were any good. I'm trying to think. I mean, like I said, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, obviously. So I don't want to leave out Lamar Jackson. That's it, though. I think that's the short list is Kyler, Lamar, Stafford, Roethlisberger. That was it. None of the NFC East quarterbacks were worth the damn last year. We played Cincinnati. Joe Burrow got hurt, so he doesn't count because he didn't finish the game. Matter of fact, I don't even think he got deep into the third quarter before his injury was sustained. What NFC division did we play? The NFC West. So we played San Francisco. Did we play San Francisco? I know we played. Yeah, we played San Francisco. Oh, man, they were terrible. We went to San Francisco, and the defense won us that game. So, yeah, our schedule wasn't quarterback heavy last year. We get in the direct opposite this year. I just want to see fight. I want to see fight from the fellas. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming season, but the schedule is brutal. And we know the rest of the division is coming for our noodle. So we got to be prepared. As I said yesterday, be prepared. We got to be prepared because everybody's gunning for us. That's what happens when you got the strap, the championship strap on your shoulder. They're looking to knock it off and snatch what they think is theirs. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You know the rules of the game. Then play. If Ryan Fitzpatrick's your quarterback, you don't get to go to the playoffs. That's a rule. I didn't make it. I just follow the rules. I don't make them. So I don't like our chances. And when's the last time a team in the NFC East has repeated as division champs? I said, look, at some point, somebody's got to break that. It was like that in the NFC South for years. For years. And then finally, I think the Panthers or the Saints broke that up and said, all right, enough of that shit. Somebody's got to do it. Why not us? But if we're going to do it, man, I tell you, we're going to have to play some damn good ball. Because the schedule, it is not kind to the good guys. It is not. So, in any event, let's get to the proceedings this evening. We will look at the schedule. We'll go through it. I'm not a wins and losses guy, especially in May. So I'm not going to go the wins and losses route with you today. We'll probably do that before the season starts. No, we won't probably. We will do that before the season starts at some point. I just want to look at the schedule, talk about the primetime games, talk about how these games are situated and how we should be looking, what should be the goal after the first quarter of the season and the second quarter and things of that nature. We'll look at the schedule tonight in depth, talk about that. The Charles Leno signing, I've done a video on that, but we're going to go over that conversation because some other people in the comment section of that video brought up some questions that I think bear answering. I've answered most of them in the video that I actually did. However, I do think there are more questions worth discussing. So we're going to go in depth about the Charles Leno signing. We're going to talk about the depth at the tackle position and the offensive line as a whole tonight as well. And then we'll talk about the safety position. A lot of you still want McCain to come back and sign. I'm like, I'm good. Honestly, he doesn't have to come back here and sign, but I know a number of you are like, hey, what about McCain? He needs to come back and sign. He didn't sign his deal. We'll see what happens there. We'll talk about all of those things and then some. But in any event, let's get to your comments. Before we do that, I do want to showcase the Ron's Plan shirt. Obviously, last week I wore the burgundy one. This is the gold, okay? Both are extra crispy, as you can see. So what I'm telling you is that you need to go out and cop the shirt, okay? Pre-orders, I think you're running down, we're less than a week now in terms of pre-orders left. I think Sunday might be the last day. I got to check with my guy over at Print Champs, my guy Mike. Shout out to my guy Mike for holding me down at Print Champs. I think Sunday is the last day to get these shirts, and then they're gone. So again, what better way to rep the squad than to show up, first game of the season against the Chargers, at the crib with a Ron Plan shirt. I'm telling you, people going to walk up to you and say, hey, where you get that from? That's dope. I want one of those. So don't get caught without one, man. Get you a Ron's Plan t-shirt, man. Burgundy, gold. Get you both, all right? I always said, why settle for one when you can have both? Get you somebody that can do both. I got both for you. I got burgundy and I got gold. What you trying to do? All right, so with that said, let's get to the comment section and see what you guys are talking about tonight. So, and for those of you who haven't checked out the roundtable, we had an NFC East roundtable over on Lord Brunson's channel. He's a known Philadelphia Eagles fan. If you guys are not aware of who he is, we've done the roundtable before, but I call it the Fab Four or the Fantastic Four with the Four Horsemen. However you want to slice it. That's the group that I rock with right there, of Law Nation for the Dallas Cowboys, my guy Bad Dog over for the Giants, and then Lord Brunson for the Philadelphia Eagles. We did it again over on Brunson's channel. I said the next time we do it, it doesn't matter if it's on Law's channel or my channel, but I'm going to have it on my channel eventually. I think at this point now, I think we need to have one here on the LouieTeeNetwork. Let me run this show. Let me run point and throw out the questions. Because look, it doesn't matter where the show is. I'm going to dominate, okay? Because that's my personality. I want to be the alpha in the room. And so I'm going to be aggressive, especially if you're talking reckless. And you know, L.B. is the definition of a fan. The term fan is short for fanatic. He's definitely a fanatic, and it's not coincidental that the Phillies mascot is called the Phillies Fanatic. He's a fanatic, okay? He's the biggest homer of the group, of the Four Horsemen. He's the one that seems to have Eagles-colored glasses on and can't take them off. So we always seem to get into it, but I have a lot of fun doing those, and I think the next one we do might be here on the Louie T Network. In any event, let's get to the comment section, and we start off the night with Brian Haynes. Thank you for the super chat, Brian Haynes. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Brian Haynes writes, going against the Packers, Chiefs, Bucks, Bills, and Seahawks would be a real test to see how far this team has come. Even if it's brutal, I'm looking forward to it. Likewise, so am I. So am I, Brian. In my mind, this is how you find out just how, and you know what's really going to be fascinating is how well the defense plays. That's what I really want to see. Is, look, I don't know how far this offense is going to come. I think they're going to have their weeks where they look dynamic and explosive and they look unstoppable. They're going to have weeks where we turn it over and we're a mess. The constant all season long needs to be this defense. And if we're going to have a chance to have a season, as they like to say, it's going to be on the strength and on the backs of this defense. And so we talk about this defense, and a lot of you like to throw around top five, all right? We're going to find out just how good this defense really is, all right? Because this isn't going to be like last season where you're playing all of these bums at quarterback, like Nick Mullins, where you can turn him over 15 million times, score a couple of defensive touchdowns, and escape with the 23-15 victory. This ain't that, okay? You're not going to be able to get Jalen Hurts to turn it over or go 7 of 21 or whatever the hell it is for less than 100 yards. This isn't that kind of party that we're having this year, okay? These are some real deal quarterbacks that we're going to have to face. Upper echelon, the elite of the elite, the best in the business. So if we want it, we're going to have to go take it, and we're not taking it from Nick Mullins this year, okay? We're going to have to take it from Mahomes, Allen, Rodgers, Brady, okay? We're going to have to take it from Wilson. We're going to have to take it from Ryan. We're going to have to take it from Herbert. Like, we're playing the best, the creme de la creme. So, and Dak is back. So, that's 2 times. In a 3-week span, weeks 14 and 16. Dak is back. Who's had this massive thorn that he's stuck in our side since he's come into the league in 2016. We got to get rid of Daniel Jones's ass. We haven't beat him. He's undefeated against us. This shit has to stop. So I've got my hit list for this season. The Giants are at the very top. I'm sick of this shit, just like last year. I was sick of the Eagles' ass. Sick of the Eagles. Let's get rid of the Eagles. We got rid of them week 1. I asked the schedule makers, hey, give me the Giants week 1. I want to do these boys right out of the gate, get them over with. They said, I can't give you week 1. I can do week 2 for you on Thursday night, though, at the crib. I said, gracias. They said, de nada. I appreciate that. And then they said, I'm going to do you just like we did with the Eagles. I'm going to give them to you early. I'm going to give them to you late. It's up to you what you do, but I'm going to put it on your plate. You can eat it now. You can eat it later. But I'm going to put it on your plate early. I'm going to put it on your plate late. I can't ask for much more. We got to get the Giants' ass this year. I can't take another loss to Daniel Jones. I just can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm with you, Brian. The schedule is tough, but we going to find out about this squad. We're going to find out about the heart. That's what I really want to see. Look, I know we're not going to beat. Okay, I can't say I don't know we're not going to beat. I don't think we're going to beat Tampa Bay, or I don't think we're going to beat Mahomes and the Chiefs and Rodgers and the Packers in Lambeau. I don't see us doing that. But I want to see us be competitive in those games. I want to see us push those teams. Say what you want about the Giants. They were at home on a Monday night, and they pushed the Buccaneers to the limit. Pushed them to the limit. They went to Seattle with a backup quarterback and beat the Seahawks. I want to see us do that too. I want to see us push some of the better teams in the league to the limit, even if it doesn't result in a victory. I know there aren't moral victories, and I'm not asking for moral victories. I'm asking for this team to fight and show growth. Last year, we beat up on a bunch of nobodies. A bunch of so-and-sos that no one knows. That's who we beat up on last year. Now it's a bunch of dudes with names in this league, with the game and the substance to back it up. What we gonna do? That's what I'm looking to see. Thank you for the super chat, Brian Haynes. Lorenzo Simpson, my guy Zoe, what's good with you, Zoe? Lorenzo Simpson writes, I feel like all these O-line moves spells the end of Brandon Sheriff after this year. I don't get that. I don't necessarily get that, because what you have to understand is we didn't make a ton of moves. We went out and got a offensive lineman in the second round that we believe is a tackle. He could be a guard, and that could be, you could be right. That could be the end of Brandon Sheriff right there. But the move to get Charles Leno, the trade for Eric Flowers, these are all temporary fixes just to give you more depth. He's got 2 years remaining on his contract, this Eric Flowers, and the Leno deal is a 1-year deal. He's a rental. So I understand where you're coming from, though, because if they really believe in Flowers and he comes in, wins the left guard job, and you are prepping maybe Sadiq Charles to take over, because I think this is to me the bigger takeaway. And I did not address this in my video, even though I said this when we drafted Samuel Cosme 2 weeks ago. I said this already, so I didn't think it bared mentioning, but somebody brought it up, so I feel like I need to say it again. When they drafted Samuel Cosme, that told me all I needed to know. Sadiq Charles is no longer a tackle. Now, if you go on the Washington football team website and you look at the roster, guess what Sadiq Charles is listed as? You guessed it, a tackle. But what I'm seeing from the moves being made, and I'm just drawing inferences, okay? I'm just connecting dots trying to make sense of everything. You draft a tackle. He could play guard, but he's a tackle by trade. You went out and signed another tackle when he got released in Charles Leno Jr. You re-upped on David Sharp, who just happens to be a tackle. All right? And you did everything you could to insulate the tackle position. What that says to me is, Sadiq, you had a shot. You blew it. You couldn't stay healthy. You're now a guard. That's what that says to me. I could be wrong, but that's what that says to me. I see Sadiq Charles moving forward as a guard. We'll see if that is in fact the case or not. But it doesn't say anything to me about Sheriff. I think they still want him back, and I still think next year they're going to pursue a long-term deal with Brandon Sheriff, believe it or not. Will he sign it? We'll see. But I seriously believe that Brandon Sheriff still is in the long-term plans of this team. I don't think this second franchise tag takes them out of the market of trying to re-up Brandon Sheriff next year. So, for what it's worth, we'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Lorenzo Simpson. Got another one here from Kevin the PRF. My guy, Kevin the PRF, thank you for the super chat, who writes, I don't mind the last 5 weeks. You want the division to be on the line then and face Allen, Brady, Rodgers, or Mahomes then. I get that. I understand that. And remember, in the last week of the season, you always play a divisional opponent. So one of those guys wasn't going to show up. But I get what you're saying. Would I have rather gone through that gauntlet at the end of the season when we needed them versus, but this is the thing. And this is why a lot of you fail to realize this. I would much rather play those dudes at the end when we need it than to not even be in a position to need it at the end. Understand what I'm saying? Let me say that again for some of those people that were confused by what I just said. If you play those guys early in the season and you get your ass kicked and Dallas and the Giants are actually semi-good, then by the time you get to Dallas twice and the Eagles twice and then the Giants one final time, you may not be playing for a damn thing because Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, Wilson, Allen all kicked your damn brains in. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather be going into that stretch of games at 8-3 and saying, all right, fellas, y'all built up this 8-3 cushion. Let's see what we got. Versus saying, hey, we 3-8. We ain't got shit to play for, but we got these division games. Let's go get them. Well, it's too late now. The Giants and the Cowboys are way out. Gone left us. We can't catch them at 3-8. Season's done. So you got to decide which one do you want. I'd much rather go the other route and say, hey, let me get them division games. Because I want to catch teams early. Now, there's something to be said about catching teams late too, because I just gave a scenario where we're 3-8. Somebody else could be 3-8 and they could be like, man, the season's over. I'm ready for this shit to be done. And guys could be injured and you could be catching them at the tail end of the season when they don't have anything to play for. Versus at the beginning of the season when they're all excited and gung-ho. I mean, look at Dallas, for instance. We didn't play them the first time until week 7. Had we played them week 3, they would have still had Dak Prescott. It's a different Dallas team. So you can look at it both ways. Honestly, I'm not shook by the 5 games at the very end. It's just a lot. I don't want to see Dallas twice in 3 weeks and then turn around and see Philadelphia twice in 3 weeks. I don't want to do that. That's not appealing to me. I just saw you. I got to see you again. And then I just saw this team. And I got to see them again. There should have been at least a game in there to break up that monotonous group of NFC East games. There should have been one rando game thrown in the mix. Like Denver right there. End of the season. Throw Denver in there. That like a rando game should have been in there. To break up that monotonous. It should have been, Dallas, Philadelphia, Denver, Dallas, Philadelphia, Giants. Something like that. And I've seen that before. I've never seen Dallas, Philadelphia, Giants. I've never seen something like that. Never seen it. So I'm not afraid of the schedule. But what I am saying is I'd rather get some wins and stockpile some dubs and then go down the stretch with more confidence. Think about how we played last year. Had we played Pittsburgh earlier in the season, when we weren't as confident in our abilities. We didn't know who we were as a team yet. We hadn't established a defensive identity yet. Had we played them early in the season, I don't think we do what we did to the Steelers, right? But because we had finally established an identity, we were able to start feeling like, hey, we can do this defensively. We were able to go to Pittsburgh and go toe-to-toe with an undefeated team and come out victorious. Because we built up the confidence to be able to go to Heinz Field and do that. That's why I'd much rather get the wins early and then build up the confidence. And then take on Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady. Yeah, I'd rather do that than get my ass kicked early and then go into the latter stages of the season saying, well, we're done. Now we're playing for pride. Speaking of Kevin the PRF, I need y'all. So what I've noticed, just to go off subject for a second, what I've noticed is on everybody's channel, they have a bunch of mods, right? I don't have any. I've got one mod because I don't trust people. That's my problem. I don't trust people. I'm not afraid to tell you guys that. I don't trust people. So I don't want to give people that kind of ability because I don't trust you. Well, I've got to stop my shit, okay? We're family here, okay? And there are certain ones of you out there that I trust, that I look at and I say, I trust you. You're almost on all of my videos. I know I can count on you. Kevin, you're one of those guys. If you are interested, you're out there and you want to be a mod on my channel, please hit me in my inbox. I really don't care what social you choose. Just don't choose Facebook because I don't check that one enough. But hit me on IG. Hit me on Twitter. Hit me on YouTube. Wherever, hit me. But you got to DM me. Inbox me, okay? Don't just put it at the bottom of some random video or even this video. Inbox me. DM me. Hit me and say, hey, I wouldn't mind being a mod. And I'll respond if I think you're worthy of being a mod. But I need some mods on the channel. I realize that. I do. So, Kevin, I would love it if you would be one of my mods. Because you pretty much, any video I put out that's live, you're usually there. And I know I can count on you. So, I would love it if you would be one of my mods. I was trying to inbox you. I couldn't get a hold of you because I couldn't find you on any other platform but YouTube. And the last time I tried to find somebody on YouTube, they just didn't get my message. So I said, to hell with it. Just going to announce it on the show. Anyway, I got that out of the way. Hopefully I hear from some of you, and some of you qualify to be one of my mods. That said, JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP, writes, Lou, as tough as this schedule looks, this isn't the same trash ball club from the last 2 decades. Ron's plan is helping change the narrative. You're right. You're absolutely right. But we talk about Ron's plan. We talk about the change culture. We talk about all of the differences with this roster. And I believe every single word coming out of my mouth. This is not lip service. I'm not trying to preach to the congregation to get you guys to believe. There's tangible evidence that things are shifting in the right direction. But you know what speaks louder than words, like the ones that are coming out of my mouth? Action. And there is no better action than going out and playing against teams that are perceived to be better than you and either coming out victorious or giving them one hell of a run for their money. And honestly, we're done with the moral victories. So the whole, hey, man, we only lost to the Chiefs by 3. Who gives a shit? You still lost, okay? We have to win some of these games. We got to go to Lambeau and beat the Packers or some game like that. There are going to be a couple of them in there where you say, hey, man, that seems like a kamikaze mission. I don't see how we come out of this thing alive. But we need to find a way to come out of it alive and with a win. That Steelers game didn't feel like a kamikaze mission, but it felt pretty damn tough. But somehow we came out of it alive with a win, and that's what I'm talking about. We need 1 or 2 of those this year, where I was at the edge of my seat. I haven't been that intense for a game in a very long time, okay? I was up, I was screaming, I was yelling, I was intense. 4th down stop. Hell yeah, fellas. I'm into it, okay? 4th down stop, 4th down conversion when Cam Sims made that one-handed grab. I jumped out of my seat. Like, I need to have a few of those this year where I'm into it, I'm dialed in, and I'm like, fellas, we got a shot against a really good team. So you're right. It's not the same trash ball club, but they're going to have to go out on the field and prove it, JP. They're going to have to prove it. I got confidence that these boys can do it. I'm not confident in Ryan Fitzpatrick. I've said that a million times. I don't need to beat that horse. It's long dead. But I'm confident in this unit as a whole that we've got the guys here that are going to fight tooth and nail to try to give us a chance week in, week out. And it doesn't really matter who the opponent is. So I do like that. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Got another one here from Pac-Man D3. Thank you for the super chat, Pac-Man D3. Greatly appreciate you. Pac-Man D3 writes, Lou, love the roundtable earlier. Really appreciate your hard work and dedication to giving us Washington football fans the best content possible. The champs are here. You're damn right. The champs are here. The champs are here. The champs are here. The champs are here. That's right. And until they take the strap off our shoulder, the champs reside here. That's right. And I had to make sure they understood that. I knew they were getting tired of it, but guess what? You don't want me to say it, then stop us from being the damn champs. So I love it. And I'm going to milk it for all it's worth until we're no longer the champs of the NFC East. So I enjoyed the roundtable. I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. And we're going to do it again. And hopefully the next time we do it, it'll be here on the Louie T Network. Thank you for the super chat, Pac-Man D3. JP, thank you for doubling up. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JP. Greatly appreciate you, my man. John Perez writes, to be the best, you have to beat the best. I'm confident enough in this defense that we can stay in games and the offense will be better. That's the hope. I can't, with 100% certainty, guarantee anything. Not offensively, not even defensively, even though I'm bullish on this defense. I can't guarantee you anything on either side of the ball. I'm more anxious to see this defense than I am the offense because we can't be much worse than we were offensively last year, you know? So, in my mind, we're going to improve offensively. How much? We'll see. This defense is what I'm hanging my hat on. It's what I get excited about. It's why I feel like I can say some of the things that I say with so much confidence. Is because I'm banking on the defense having my back. I look behind me. I got Chase over there. I got Montez over there. I got Ionitis right here. I got Payne right here. I got Allen over this shoulder. I'm looking back in the secondary. I see Will. Hey, what up, Will? I see William Jackson over there. I see, oh, whoa. What's good, man? I see my man Kendall Fuller back there kicking it. And I like what I see. I'm excited about it. Hey, Jamin, what's good, bro? You ready? I see Jamin Davis over there. Cole Holcomb right there. I'm loving it. Now they got to go out and show it. And I'm hanging my hat on those boys, having my back every single, as a fan. These boys got my back. That's what I'm hanging my hat on. If they don't have my back, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season because I don't want to have to stake my claim in this offense scoring 30 plus. Even though Fitzpatrick is going to give this offense a level of explosiveness that we've lacked for quite some time. And I'm going to say it. I know you don't want me to say it. I'm going to say it anyway since Kirk Cousins was here. However, I think this defense is where it is. And that's what's going to keep us in ball games. Because if you rely on Ryan Fitzpatrick in the offense to score 30 plus week in, week out, well, you asking for trouble. You asking for trouble. So you're right. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. That's how it goes, generally speaking. And we're going to see where this team stacks up this year. You want to win the division? You get a first place schedule? What you going to do with it? We're going to see. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up, JP. My guy, JP, looks like you tripled up here. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's my guy, JP, tripling up. All right, JP feeling frisky tonight. Thank you for tripling up, JP. Greatly appreciate you. My man, John Perez writes, working on getting my lady and I tickets to the Buffalo versus Washington football team game for week 3. Not official yet, but I'm anxious to get to a game. That's on the road, right? Because I think our first two are at home. Chargers at the crib, Giants on a Thursday night at the crib, and then I think we hit the road. Oh, that's right. You from New Jersey. You a Jersey dude. That's right. So that's right in your backyard. Okay, I stand corrected. That's right. You a Jersey guy. That's right. I just remembered that. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. That's right in your backyard. That'd be pretty damn interesting if you go. And you wouldn't be alone there. There'd be plenty of Washington fans there to greet you as well. I think they've got a nice little congregation. Usually anywhere on the road, there's some Washington fans there anyway. But that'd be pretty cool if you could get in there, infiltrate the stadium, and hold it down for us. That'd be pretty damn cool indeed. Anyway, thank you for that super chat, JP. Hopefully you and your girl, you and your lady are able to get in there and hold it down for us, man. That'd be awesome. And keep me abreast on that situation. Let me know if you get in there or not. Roger Cedeno, thank you for the super chat, Roger. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Rolando Cedeno. I was scrolling through the comments, saw Roger, and put your name and his name together. I apologize. Rolando Cedeno, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Rolando Cedeno, who writes, lost to Russell Wilson. I'm throwing my hat for Heineke to start. Fitzpatrick is just an expensive insurance policy. I wish I could agree with you on that, but he's going to start the season off. Now, you know, there was an interesting question posed to me on the roundtable discussion by Lloyd Brunson, who asked me, do I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to finish the whole season? Injury has never really been his thing. He's never been a guy that's really been banged up per se. He's just always been unfortunate with turnovers and end up getting benched. I think he's going to finish the season if we're in a divisional race or a playoff race. If we get to week 13 and we're somehow out of it already, I could see the final 5-6 weeks of the season going to Heineke or Allen, whomever they believe in the most, to give them an opportunity to prove that they can do something. But make no mistake about it. If he's healthy and he's playing good enough to give us a chance, he's going to remain the starter, I believe. I don't see any way Heineke or Allen getting in the game outside of Fitzpatrick, who is a bit of a risk taker, outside of him running and taking a shot, which he's been known to do from time to time, and getting knocked out of a ball game or something like that. I just don't see this guy leaving the lineup. And so I think it's going to be Fitzpatrick. I think they've sort of made their bed, and they're prepared to lie in it. Whatever happens, I think they're prepared to lie in that bed. So Fitzpatrick, I think it's going to be Rolando. But we'll see. Kevin the PRF, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Kevin the PRF, my guy Kev writes, oh, y'all see Ramon? I'm going to give him a little bit more right there. I ain't going to pull him out no more. I had to put him away because I don't take him on road games. You know, on Lord Brunson's channel, they don't know me over there. They see Ramon peeking. They're going to like, what the hell is that? Sticking out of his hat. Then if they come for Ramon, they got a problem with Ramon. They got a problem with me. And then I got to go after somebody unnecessarily. So on the road, I put him away. He's only allowed to come out for home games. We back on solid, safe ground so he can peek out a little bit. But I made sure I tucked him away when I went on Lord Brunson's channel because we can't have any accidents. Can't have him, hey, what's going on out there? No. Get your ass back in the hat. So I had to make sure there were no peeks by Ramon. But, yeah, he could come out and play. This is friendly territory. He's safe. You guys know him. It's all good. Anyway, Kevin the PRF, thank you for doubling up. My man Kev writes, I'm hyped for week 1. Mr. Slater comes to the NFL. Young will be your chaperone. Remember him? He most certainly remembers you. Hashtag payback. You know you're the man when somebody else's rep is enhanced because of what they did to you. That's when you know you got clout, okay? Or as they used to say, and a wise man once said, hey, you got the juice now. That's when you know you got juice. When somebody else is able to now have juice because of what they did to you. And that's essentially what Chase Young did for Rashawn Slater. He essentially made that man's career and made him a first-round pick because the first thing anybody references is, hey, watched him against Chase Young in 2019, and he held his own. That got him drafted in the top 15 picks. Chase didn't forget about that, and he's tired of hearing about it, I would assume by now. Somebody's got to get blessed. It might be Mr. Slater. Welcome to the NFL, young fella. It could be a long week. We said that week 1 last year. Remember, Eagles had a young tackle, and we was like, hey, he going to have to get blazed. What did Chase do? Come out? I think he had 2 sacks. I think they only gave him credit for 1. I think he had 2 sacks and the forced fumble in that game. I think they only gave him credit for 1 sack. Whatever the case, he was a nuisance, and everybody was thinking, oh, shit, he had 20 sacks this year. Obviously, he had the injury. He got slowed down a bit, but he still had a hell of a season. Contrary to what Lord Brunson thinks about Chase Young, he's overrated and this, that, and the third. 5 sacks? Are you kidding me? There was a stretch there where Chase Young had like a sack or 2 every week for about a 3-4 week stretch. 5 sacks? You kidding me? Anyway, I digress. The man won Defensive Rookie of the Year for a reason, but I'm not going down that road. Payback is definitely a dish best served cold, and my guy Chase Young is definitely cold-blooded. We'll see what happens in week 1. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin, the PRF. Got another one here from just Kevin. My guy Kevin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Kevin writes, you are exactly right about that Eagles guy. More a fan than anything else. You're the best, though, bro. Thank you for the super chat, and I really appreciate that, Kevin. He's definitely a homer, and that's okay. It's okay. But I'm always going to jump down the throat of a homer because I told you I'm practical. I see things through a lens that is based off of logic and just being forthcoming with what I deem to be truthful, but more of a opinion that's even keel. Like, if my team stinks, I'm going to tell you we stink. I'm not going to tell you we're going to win just because that's my team. Some of you are like that, and that's okay. I'm not going to jump down your throat because you're a family member. But when you come and try to test the kid with your perspective and you're a fan of another team and you want to bring that homerism my way, that's when I'm going to load up and I'm going to go back to my baseball background and I'm going to smack that shit out of the park. I'm sitting on that fastball and I'm going to knock that shit out of the park. So can't come at me with that because I'm going to smack that shit all day long. I'm sitting on fastball, dead red. Bring it my way if you want to. That shit's going over the fence. So he's a fanatic, and that's cool. All right, but again, we're gonna always butt heads because you can't sit here and give me all these reasons why you hate your schedule and this, that, and the third, and then tell me, oh, but we still gonna win 11 games. That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. But I knew he was gonna do that. Why? Because he's predictable. But he's still my guy. But he's predictable. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin. Greatly appreciate you. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one is from my guy CPJ, Carlton Pagano Jackson. My guy CPJ, and once again, congratulations for winning the trivia question last week that I gave out for the giveaway. I'm going to do more of those, so you guys stay tuned for that as we get more in tune to what's going on and I get more comfortable. Get situated. We're going to have a lot more giveaways, a ton of them, all right? Because you guys bless me so much, I got to start returning that favor to you guys. And so I'm getting in a space now where I'm comfortable enough to start doing that. And I like how everything's going. But my guy, CPJ, thank you for the super chat, who writes, my man, Lou, I'm excited for training camp and all the competition we got and who gets cut. I'm telling you, that's the name of the game right now. It's competition, competition, competition. We have put forth a situation where competition has been created, a level of competition that we haven't really seen on this roster in quite some time. Not the bullshit we used to talk about, Samaje Perine versus Robert Kelly, who's gonna win the job. Like, we ain't having those discussions no more, man. Like, that shit is so far in the rearview mirror, and I can't be more thankful that we're not having those types of discussions anymore. Now, we was this close. We was this close to having a Taylor Heineke versus Kyle Allen discussion. That's not that far away from John Beck versus Rex Grossman. So we was this close. And I'm not saying that Ryan Fitzpatrick is that much better, but it stops us from having some crazy talk, okay? However, it's just good to know that I look at the receiver position, and I'm talking about Cam Sims versus maybe Kelvin Harmon getting cut. And looking at those two and saying, well, damn, I feel really good about either one. But, you know, Sims put up some big numbers for me last year, made some big plays, none bigger than the catch on that third down versus the Steelers to help us clinch that victory. I'm looking at Harmon, I'm saying, you got a lot of talent and potential, but bruh, it's a lot of stuff at that receiver position right now, man. I don't know. That's a great debate to have. It's a great position to be in, to be able to look around at a lot of these positions and say, hey, one of y'all safeties got to go, man. I think I already know who it is, but shit, let's find out. You know? It's a great debate, a great discussion to have. So I feel really good about where we are right now. I'm excited about camp as well. Thank you for the super chat, CPJ. Let's see. Chilled Dude. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Chilled Dude. My guy, Chilled Dude, writes, I'll be at Game 1, Section 140, Row 4, 1 year anniversary with wife. Super hype with Ron's Plan T. Awesome show tonight. Keep it rolling, Lou. Hit that like. Thank you for the super chat, Chill Dude. You guys heard the man. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. Show some love and some support for the channel. That's awesome, man. Hope you and your wife enjoy the game. That's some pretty damn awesome seats, by the way. So hopefully you guys are there taking in a win in week 1. And hopefully we get off the schneid just like we did in week 1 last year early. I don't want to be in the discussion of, man, the winless teams in the league after the first 3 weeks of the season. I don't want to be in that conversation. I don't want to be in that conversation after week 2 when you're 0-2 and everybody's hitting that panic button. You know, who can ill afford to lose this week? I don't want to be in that discussion. How you kill that conversation dead is by winning in week 1. Then you don't put yourself in that position where we having, hey, who is it? 2 0-1 teams. Who has to win this game more? Then we got to start staring at the schedule. If you don't win this game and you got Buffalo in week 3, you're 0-3 now. Like, I don't want to go down that road. Let's get it done in week 1. Somebody's got to be disappointed. How about it be the road team that's got to travel all the way across the U.S. to get to our stadium? How about it be the road team going back home? Melancholy, lamenting a loss. So we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoy that game, and I hope you guys bring back a dub for the good guys. Thank you for the super chat, Chilled Dude. Got another super chat. This one is from Ishmael Benitez. Thank you for the super chat, Ishmael Benitez, who writes, as long as we don't beat ourselves, we have a shot at beating any team on the schedule. Live show feels more intense now that you're standing up. I'm always more intense when I stand up because I'm more animated when I stand up. I'm able to move around, so I engage more when I stand up. I used to do all my shows standing up, but guess what? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This shit is not good for your knees, okay? When you stand up all the damn time. When I used to stand up, it was because I was using my green screen. Well, I don't use the green screen really anymore because I have banners. That was the point of getting banners, so I could sit my ass down. But I got these beautiful t-shirts that I need to model and show off. I want you to be able to see them because it's easier for someone to say, hey, I want one of those when they can see it. So I need to do this, but best believe if I'm not modeling any shirts for y'all, I'm going to sit my ass down. But if I want to be, remember when we beat Dallas on Thanksgiving and I was at my parents' house, so I didn't have all my setup. I wasn't able to sit down and I had to essentially set up my phone in my old room, and I had to stand up and do my video, and I was panting, and I was breathing heavily, and I was jumping around, and I was sweating, and I came on with a broom because we had just swept the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Remember how animated I was, how excited? That's because I was standing up. Anytime I stand up, I'm way more, because I'm an animated dude. Anybody will tell you that knows me, I'm a very animated guy. I'm chill, I'm reserved, but if I'm telling a story, or I get passionate about them, and I'm passionate about this team, as you guys can tell. I start talking about something I'm passionate about. I get to moving around, arms get to flailing. I start being really descriptive with my mannerisms. That's how it goes with your man, Louie T. So thank you for the super chat, and I'm with you. If we don't beat ourselves, but remember who our quarterback is. So you say out of one side of your mouth, if we don't beat ourselves, and then out of the other side of your mouth, you say, well, Ryan Fitzpatrick is our quarterback, so I don't know how those two things jive together. We're going to find out. If he can protect the football, the defense has to get stops. There were times last year where the defense wasn't good. And when we played against good quarterbacks, at times we did not look good. Kyler Murray carved us up, okay? Lamar Jackson in the first half of that game did whatever he wanted to do. We were down like 17-0 early in that ball game after he broke off like a 35-yard run. Don't ask me what the hell Ryan Anderson was doing on that play, but he broke off like a damn near, it might have been 50 yards. Hauled ass on us. All right, when we played Matthew Stafford, he could do no wrong for the first 3 quarters of that game, essentially. Maybe it was 2 quarters. But they were dominating us, okay? So when we saw good quarterbacks, this defense was not good. We weren't good. Ben Roethlisberger was having his way early in that game. Well, not in the first quarter. It was really tight. Then he got into a rhythm in the second quarter, and they had a 14-0 lead after the touchdown pass right before the end of the first half. Kendall Fuller, I need you to make that tackle on that hitch. Taking me down memory lane. Anyway, I digress. That's going to be the key, is the defense has to make some stops against some of these really good quarterbacks and these dynamic offenses to give our offense a chance to run and not have to press. But not turning it over is just as big as our offense being dynamic and explosive as well. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for that super chat, Ishmael Benitez. Let's see. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor writes, Ron can lead a horse to water, but he can't buckle him into the car and win a game unless all the horses work together with confidence. Absolutely. And that is the key. And that was kind of what I was saying about the discussion I was having on the round table with the fellas when they were talking about the Falcons drafting Kyle Pitts, and then he brought us into it saying, well, you guys drafted Chase Young. And I know there are a bunch of Washington fans that obviously in hindsight, you take Justin Herbert. You look at what he's done, right? Well, who's to say he would have done that in Washington? Who's to say he's the same guy here in Washington as he was with the Chargers? We didn't have the weapons that the Chargers had, at his disposal. So I don't know what would have happened if he would have gotten drafted here. I just know I wanted Chase Young. And I would do Chase Young over again. I know some of you think I'm crazy, and that's fine. Chase Young was the best player in that draft, not named Joe Burrow. I thought Joe Burrow was the best player in that draft, but we knew we weren't getting him. I thought Chase Young was the second best player in that draft, and I thought Kyle Pitts was the best player in this year's draft. Okay, forget about all the quarterbacks. Kyle Pitts was the best player in this year's draft. They took the best player available. I don't have a problem with that. So I said all of that to say this. You need horses. You need guys. You need ballers. You need dudes to win in this league. You can have the best coaching staff. Look at Bill Belichick last year. No Brady, no Edelman, no chance, okay? You can have all the coaching experience, all the stud coaches on your staff you want. You don't have the horses, you don't win in this league. Period. End of discussion. Thank you for the super chat. Metaphor. All right. Let's see. Got some more super chats. This next one is from Barrett Down and my guy BD. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, BD, who writes, we have lots of competition on the field, and I'm looking forward to seeing the best group representing the Washington football team. I as well. I'm looking forward to that. And that's been my theme all offseason, is that there's a level of competition now on the back end of the roster that hasn't been in Washington for quite some time. And because of that, that makes me excited. That gets my juices flowing, because I know when we cut a dude, he's not going to end up on the streets looking for work because he shouldn't have been in the league to begin with. But that's the state of our roster. That's no longer the case. If we cut a dude, we're going to be gritting our teeth. Oh, man, I didn't want to see him go, but it's either him or the other guy, and this guy, can't let him go. Got to keep him. And I know good and well when we cut this dude, he ain't clearing waivers. He ain't going to end up back here on the practice squad. More likely than not, he'll be on somebody else's roster. And you know what? Even though it sucks, that's a great problem to have. It's what the best teams in this league generally have in terms of an issue with their roster, back end of it. You got to cut dudes that are ultimately going to end up on somebody else's team. looking forward to that too as well. BD, thank you for the super chat. Got another super chat. This one is from Washington football fan WGIL. Thank you for the super chat, Washington fan WGIL, who writes, Lou, your thoughts on Nelson Lomcombo. I haven't watched him. I heard about the 2 Canadian players that Washington was interested in. This guy was supposedly a top 5 pick, I believe, over in the Canadian League this past year. I don't have any interest in really looking at him because I don't think he's going to make the football team. But I guess as we get a little bit closer to the season, we'll see what happens. But I didn't do any work on him because I wasn't expecting much. But I've heard his name a couple of times. If I get a chance this weekend, I'll probably maybe strike up a few, type his name in, do a search, see if I can find something, take a look at him, see what he's talking about. But I didn't think much of it, honestly. I heard his name. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I didn't really think much of it, though. But I've heard good things. You know, there were 2 guys in particular. This was the name that kept popping up. Like, hey, I don't really care about the other guy too much, but this Nelson Lomcombo guy seems like someone to be interested in. So I may take a gander, but I haven't done so. So I can't give you any thoughts on him because I simply don't know right now. Leon Hall, thank you. But thank you for the super chat, Washington football team fan, WGIL. Sorry that I couldn't give you more at this moment. Leon Hall, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Leon Hall writes, Louie T, a.k.a. the GOAT at this. Thanks, bro. No, thank you, Leon, for your support and your unwavering time and effort that you put into this channel because it's a lot. You know, these live streams are long. I post a lot of videos, and you guys are there. You watch, you like, you support, and I can't thank you guys enough for all that you do and the value that you bring to the Louie T Network. So thank you, Leon. Really appreciate you. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one is from Leon Hall as well. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Leon Hall. Greatly appreciate you. Once again, for the super chat and doubling up, who writes, you do an amazing job keeping us up to speed. I tried to do my best to make sure that what I know, you know. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want you guys to feel a certain way about a player or a decision made because of how I feel. Now, sometimes I can't help it. If I'm really upset about something or I'm really excited about something, I'm going to tell you guys, and that may bleed on to you. But that's why I don't give Washington draft grades. I don't know if you've noticed that. I give grades for every other team in the league. I don't give us a grade because I don't want to diminish your thinking about the draft. I just want to see it play out. You know, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the players, you know, and you can draw your own inference as to how I feel about the draft. But I'll tell you, I feel good about this draft. So it was an okay draft, but I'm not going to put an A, B, C, or D on the grade or on the draft per se because I don't want to grade the draft. I just want to be able to give you guys my opinion on the players selected and the value that they got. But I don't want to put a letter grade because I don't want to influence your thoughts at all. So I try to be mindful of that. But at the end of the day, I definitely try to keep you up to speed on everything that I know. And I don't know everything. And you guys help me with some of that. You guys bring information to me too. That's why I said we're like a family. And the information goes in a circle, all right? And so I got information. And I give it to you. You have information. You give it to me. And we bounce ideas off of each other. And so all of this stuff is great because I may not know something. And I get 10 million messages in my DM on IG and Twitter. Like, hey, you seen this, Louie T? Or somebody will at me. Hey, Louie T, you saw this video on YouTube? Check this out. And so I'll check it out. You know, you guys do a lot of that. So I try to keep you up to speed. But you guys keep me up to speed as well. So I thank you guys for that too. Thank you again for the super chat, Leon Hall. Let's see. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, King of the North, who writes, we have quietly built a very deep O-line that will be a luxury down the stretch. DB health will be key playing all these elite quarterbacks this year. We can, and that is a great point, King of the North, especially at safety. we can ill afford the injuries. At free safety in particular, like we had last year, we got to stay upright and healthy at that particular position. Corner too. I don't want to dismiss and diminish how important it is for William Jackson and Kendall Fuller and our top level corners to be on the field. As you mentioned, when you're playing against the upper echelon quarterbacks, they can smell a faulty corner out there, and that's why I'm looking at Benjamin St-Juste and I'm saying, hey bro, are you ready? Because this is baptism by fire like it usually is with these young corners. And Mahomes can smell one a mile away. Do I smell a rookie? Hey, Tyreek. That means it's a go route. Eat his ass up. Yum, yum, eat him up. Yum, yum, eat him up. Next thing you know, St-Juste is getting worked and Tyreek Hill's chucking up the deuce. So we got to stay healthy, man. You're absolutely right. It is imperative that we stay healthy, especially in the back end. And I too love the fact that we have so much depth along the offensive line. I can't remember us ever, and I hate speaking in terms of definites, and I hate speaking about the relativity of this situation because you ignore other situations when you talk about. I can't remember a time fill in the blank, but I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I can't remember a time where we've had this much depth along the offensive line. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't remember a time where we've had this much depth across the board on the offensive line. The only player that I look at right now, and I say I don't know if the line functions the way it needs to if he gets injured, is Morgan Moses. Even though Cornelius Lucas could easily slide in the right tackle, it would just mess up everything if Cornelius Lucas had to go to right tackle and Morgan Moses wasn't in the lineup. But everybody else, I feel like if something were to happen, and maybe, just maybe, Chase Rouillet, because we haven't seen anybody else play center. We've seen somebody else, whether it be David Sharp, which that scared me half to death having him at right tackle, but we've seen other guys play the tackle position. We haven't really seen anybody else play center. So we need Chase Rouillet to stay healthy too. But thank you for that super chat, King of the North. Twin D. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Twin D writes, LT Addicts. LTNX. That's right. You talked about that shirt. I didn't forget you. You talked about that shirt. He says, smash the like button. You heard the man. Hit the like button. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like button. We're at 119 likes. There are over 320 of you out there. So if you please could hit the like button, let's get it to $1.50. And then after that to $1.75. And then, let's keep that ball rolling. But let's hit that like button if you can, please. Thank you for that super chat, Twin D. Let's see. Got any more super chats? We got 2 more super chats and then we'll get to the schedule. This one is from Chauncey Davis. Thank you for the super chat, Chauncey Davis, my guy. Chauncey writes, Lou, Matt Ioannidis versus Tim Settle. I would love to be able to witness that competition in camp. Well, both of them are going to make the football team. I don't think they're looking to cut bait at defensive tackle. It's not like we just drafted a new defensive tackle. Actually, I thought that defensive tackle was a sneaky need because Tim Settle is on the last year of his deal, and I don't think he's going to be around. I thought they were going to bring Caleb Brantley back to camp to compete, but they cut bait with him. Remember, these guys that decided to opt out that weren't here before Ron got here, I don't know you. You can go. So Ioannidis and Settle are both going to make this football team, but there's going to be a ton of competition and battles on this team at various positions, including the secondary. I think they're still looking to upgrade the secondary and maybe bring in another guy here to compete to really make things interesting at the cornerback position in particular. So I wouldn't count them out there as we see some more guys potentially get cut post June 1. I wouldn't be shocked to see them make another move in the secondary, specifically at the cornerback position. So thank you for that super chat, Chauncey Davis. Got another one here from King of the North. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, King of the North. Greatly appreciate you, King of the North. Writes, since Fitz is streaky, do you think Ron should walk to the mound a lot this year and ride the hot hand? Cross your fingers, Fitz goes on a heater in December. Ron showed me last year that, one, he didn't believe in Dwayne. So he was ready to pull the trigger on Dwayne at moment's notice. But even in saying that, when Dwayne was struggling against Seattle, he didn't pull the trigger on him then. Dwayne actually got out of the funk and rallied in the second half. When we were all screaming the very next week after Dwayne played well, and I told you what, Ron, I told you I was a psych minor in college, all right? And I told you, I said, Ron's rationale, and I guarantee he's going to tell us this, and he did. He said, I remember what happened the week previous. Dwayne didn't have a great first half, but he had a tremendous third quarter and into the fourth, and he gave us a chance. So I wanted to see if he was going to do that again. And I told you guys, 'cause I was screaming that there was a pick right before half. We had gotten a turnover from Teddy Bridgewater, and we were in business, and we had a chance to go get some points before the half. And Dwayne throws an inexplicable back-breaking interception to the linebacker. He's standing right there, and he just throws it. And I said, get his ass out. Get him out now. And Ron, I'm looking at Ron like, Ron, you got to pull him. And a lot of you were saying after the first interception, hey, get his ass out of here. And I was like, hey, Ron, you got to. I kept riding when I was like, Ron, you got to go. He got to go. Don't bring. After halftime, he cannot still be our quarterback. And he brought him back out there. And then there was the infamous fourth down where he misses a wide open Cam Sims right in front of him. And that was the end of the straw. But what I was trying to get to is he rode Dwayne all the way to the finish line till he couldn't ride anymore. And what that shows me is there's a level of loyalty there. Even though he wasn't loyal to Dwayne necessarily as much as he was to the rest of the team, he thought Dwayne gave us the best chance to win. I think he's going to hang with Fitz unless Fitz is just absolutely tragic. Fitz tragic. And he's not 50-50, but he's more like 30-70. And he's not giving us a chance week in, week out. That's when I think he would do something. But I don't think he's going to do anything drastic. I really don't. I think ultimately he's going to stick with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And until we are no longer in contention or he feels like the quarterback position is the only position holding us back like he did last year. He's like, I think this team is in a good position, but the quarterback position is holding us back. That's why he made the change. If he feels that way, he may do it again, but I don't anticipate that happening with Fitzpatrick. So we'll see what happens. I don't see him making those trips to the mound, though. I really don't. Anyway, I digress. All right, so let's take a look, a gander, if you will, at this schedule and talk about these games and look at how the schedule is set up. So, as we can see, looking at this schedule, we've got quite a few games at home and away in a row. So I was just on the last stream with Lloyd Brunson, and he was talking about the Eagles schedule and how they don't have any back-to-backs. And I was thinking back-to-back home games until like week 13 or 14 or something like that, he said. And he said, that's crazy. And I was thinking, man, our schedule is chocked full of, early on in the season, back-to-back home, back-to-back road, back-to-back home, back-to-back road. Like, that's how our schedule was set up. And as you can see, first two at home, next two on the road. Next two at home, the next two on the road. And then we start going home, away, home, and then two on the road, home. And so you see how the schedule is set up. So with that said, let's take a look. And remember, because there are 17 games this season, unlike past years where you got 8 at home, 8 on the road, because we're starting out this 17th game schedule on the road, we're going to have more road games than home games this season. Hence, that's why there's an extra roadie on the schedule. So keep that in mind. We got 9 road games this year, 8 at home. So let's take a look at this schedule real quick. And you start out with the Chargers at the crib. That's going to be a tough one. It should be a lot of fun. You got Offensive Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert, versus Defensive Rookie of the Year from last year, Chase Young. So I think that's going to be a really fun game to watch unfold there. That's a winnable game. It really is. I don't know how good the Chargers are going to be. I don't know how good we're going to be. That's a winnable football game. That's all I know. The next week, this is the one I want the most early in the season because I'm sick and tired of losing to Daniel Jones. I don't know if I can take another loss to Daniel Jones. I've had it up to here with losing to the Giants. I've had it up to here with my guy, Bad Dog, being able to say, look, for whatever reason, we just know how to beat y'all, which is all facts right now. I just need to go ahead and exercise those demons early. Just like with the Cowboys and the Eagles, specifically the Eagles last year, I needed it. And I called victory. You know, if you recall, I told you guys, I don't know how the season's going to go, and I told you I didn't think we were going to be a good team. But I said, we're going to win in week 1. We're going to win that one for Ron. And boy, did we ever. And it was fun. I think we need to get that monkey off our chest in week 2 on Thursday Night Football, on national television, at home versus the Giants. We got to find a way to win that game. If we can't beat Daniel Jones again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything crazy, but I'm going to be pretty pissed. And that's going to be tough to stomach if we can't find a way to win that game. So you got a chance to start 2-0. I'm not going to be greedy. I just want to split there. And look, the AFC games are cool, but give me the NFC games. Those are the ones that matter when we start talking about tiebreakers at the end of the season, trying to get into the postseason. So, and you know, the Giants being a divisional opponent makes it 2 times more important. So, give me that Giants game if I had to get one out of the first 2, but I'd like to get both of them if at all possible. Week 3, we're at Buffalo. That's going to be a tough ask. The Bills are just a good football team, period. Josh Allen is one of the best in the business. He proved it last year. He was in the MVP conversation. That's going to be a tough one. Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in all of football. They got weapons. They got a quarterback. Their defense is underrated. That's going to be interesting to see if we can just hang in there and make it a ball game. Because at one point, the Bills last year had it on tilt offensively, and they were putting up like 40 on everybody at one point. So that's going to be probably I won't say the Chargers aren't a test defensively. I'm not going to say that about the Giants either. But the first legitimate, all right, what's this defense really made of? Like last year, remember, we felt so good. 8 sacks against Wentz and the Eagles. And then week 2, we were like, we're going to find out how good this defense is because we got Kyler Murray on the road. I think the Bills they changed the name of the stadium. So the Bills in Buffalo against Josh Allen, I think that's going to be the game where we find out, hey, how legit are we early in the season defensively? The following week, the Falcons on the road. We know how explosive and dynamic they can be as an offensive football team. So that's going to be a tough ask as well, but I'm not afraid of the Falcons. And with Jamin Davis in the mix and Cole Holcomb, I think we got some linebackers that can run with Kyle Pitts. He's still a beast, and he's still going to separate, and he's still going to make plays. But between William Jackson, Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and Kyle Fuller, I like our chances against their big 3. So if we can get to Matt Ryan, he's a sitting duck, unlike Josh Allen the week prior that we'll be playing, who's a mobile quarterback. We know where to find Matt Ryan. We know his address. We know where to deliver the mail. And if we want to sack him, we know where to find him. So I think we can go into Atlanta and get those boys. But, again, I'm not counting that as a win. Week 5, home for the Saints. In most years, we'd look at that and say, man, Drew Brees and company, that's a tough ask. That's Jameis Winston now. Potentially Taysom Hill by the time we get to him in week 5. Who knows? Bottom line is, I'm not afraid of the Saints. We don't know who they are right now. They're a really good defensive team, but they've been really good defensively because they've had Drew Brees that they could lean on. That's not the case this year. We'll see what week 5 brings at home. The Chiefs the following week at the crib. You know how I feel about that one. That's a measuring stick game if I've ever seen one. The team in the AFC that has represented that conference in the Super Bowl 2 consecutive years running. You want to find out how good you are? This is the stretch of football where you're going to find that out. Home for New Orleans, home for the Chiefs, at the Packers. That's when you're going to find out what you're made of. Really, I could go back 2 weeks prior to that. Weeks 3 through 7 are to me the make or break point of the season for us. If the division is good, if the division isn't any good, then we could potentially lose, one or 4 out of the 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and still be in it if we won the first 2 of the season, and we can come out of that stretch 3-4 and still be right in the thick of things in the NFC East if everybody else is, kind of muddling their way through their schedule as well. If the division is good, we're going to find out if we're going to be around and make some hay in the division weeks 3 through 7, because you're playing high octane offense after high octane offense. That's when we're really going to find out about this defense, because it's Bills, it's Falcons, it's Saints, it's Chiefs, it's Packers, all in successive weeks. I think out of that stretch, you can't go any worse than 2-3 if you're looking to be legitimate, especially if you don't win your first 2 games. You got to come out of that first 7 weeks at no worse than 3-4 if you want to have a chance. The best path to doing that is to win the first 2 games of the season, so that if you stink it up in that 5-game stretch and you only get one of them, you're still 3-4. But if you come out of the first 2 1-1, and then you stink it up and go 1-4, now you're 2-5 after 7 weeks of football. You're cooked if the division is any good. You're cooked. You're done. So I think the first 2 games are important to try to get off to a great start. But that stretch, weeks 3 through 7, Buffalo, at Atlanta, home for the Saints, home for the Chiefs, at the Packers, we're going to find out a lot about this football team in that 5-game stretch right there. That's going to be huge. So then you go to Denver before your bye week in week 9. Denver week 8 on the road. Don't know what the Denver Broncos are going to be. They got a lot of talent out there. Don't know what they're going to get out of the quarterback position. Remember that they did trade for Teddy Bridgewater. So if Drew Lock isn't performing well, they will not be afraid. They will not hesitate. And remember, their head coach is pretty much on a short leash. Like, he can't afford to have another 5-11 season, could Vic Fangio. So I think that they will pull the trigger on Teddy Bridgewater going in as their starter if he gets off to a rough start. Because they know, if worst case scenario, Teddy Bridgewater can manage the ship, and he can be a calming influence on that team, and he'll give them a chance to win because he won't turn it over. So I don't know what quarterback we're getting in week 8, but that's a talented Denver Broncos football team on both sides of the football. So, but that's a winnable football game, one that I think we should get, and we probably will need to get, honestly speaking. You go to your bye week 9. I love the week 9 bye. Honestly, think that you can't get it much better than that. That's an outstanding bye week. I was afraid that we were going to get an early season bye because we had a relatively midway bye last year. If you recall, we had a week 8 bye last season. So I didn't think they were going to bless us 2 years in a row, but they did. So that's awesome. You come off the bye, and they give us Tom Brady right out of the gates. A rematch of Wild Card Weekend at home versus Tampa. That's going to be tough. Don't know how good Tampa's going to be this year, but all assumptions are, hey, they running it back. They brought back the entire squad. Why won't they be good again? So you'd like to think that that's going to be a really tough game. And unlike the first time when we saw those boys and everybody was so excited because we went toe-to-toe with the eventual Super Bowl champions, this time they're going to, more likely than not, have Devin White, the leader of that defense. So it changes things drastically, by the way. After that, you get the Ron Rivera revenge game. His first time back at Bank of America Stadium. He's going back to the scene of the crime. We weren't able to get it for him last year, but, I wanted it for him, but it was at home. This one means more to him because he's going back to Carolina, the place he called home for almost a decade, and he felt like he was done wrong. What better way than to return to the scene of the crime and right a wrong? And so I want that one in week 11 for Ron badly. I want it for him so bad I can taste it. And I hope he makes the players in that locker room understand, because Ron's a selfless guy. He's not going to want to say, hey, I want this one bad. But they got to know Ron really wants this one bad. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. let's stop and get to some of these super chats because I got somebody screaming at me. Get to the super chats, so I don't want them to go away. So let me read if there are any super chats. Let's see. I see one. I see two super chats. So this first one is from Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. It's been a while, too. Fat American writes, "Sup, bro? Long time no super chat." I just said that, so that's crazy. He says, "What do you think of the offseason so far?" I'm pretty good with Ron's approach to everything so far. Have a good feeling. I really love what we've done this offseason. I've said that already. I love the approach to free agency. They didn't overspend. They didn't overreach. They didn't overextend themselves. They went after targets that made sense. You know, we were all going crazy after the first couple of days of no activity, and all of the guys that we were targeting were drying up. But they had a plan, and it was Ron's plan. Ron's plan. And they followed it to a T. We come away with Curtis Samuel. We come away with William Jackson III and Adam Humphries. And I feel like we've done some good things. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, obviously. And so we did what we needed to do in free agency. And then I thought we had an outstanding draft because we tackled every single need that we put on that list. And they tackled them in an order that allowed us to not reach for players, get good value on the players that we did select. So I've been really pleased with everything that's gone on this offseason to this point. Thank you for that super chat, Fat American. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, "Need to be playing meaningful ball in November at Tampa." So at Tampa. So we're home for Tampa Bay. We're not at Tampa, but you're right. That's always the goal. Every year is, hey, get me to November playing meaningful football. For a little stretch there, it had gotten so bad that I had been reduced to just begging the fellas to get me to October still playing meaningful football. Meaning, can I get out of the first month of the season without already being pronounced dead? Like, we get to the scene, October gets to the scene of the crime, and they touch our neck, check our vitals, and they like, hey, they season dead already, man. Damn, September did them like that? Yeah, they put 4 holes in them just like that. 1 in the head, 1 in the leg, 2 in the chest. Them boys dead. Don't do that to our season this year. That could be a realistic possibility, though. I mean, think about it. If we don't win the first 2 games of the season, just for shits and giggles, we start off the season 0-2. We go to Buffalo and we 0-3 if we don't win that game. And then you go into Atlanta week 4 and you're saying this is a must win. You lose that game, you're 0-4. Your season's done. At that point, I mean, again, I don't know what the NFC East would be doing at that point, but I can't imagine them, the rest of the division starting off that poorly. You start off the season 0-4, you're cooked by the time you get to October. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I don't see that happening. But, yeah, that's the goal, is to get to that bye week. And coming off that bye week, what would be the ideal situation is no worse than 500 going into the bye. That's why I said it's important that you either split the first 2 or you win both of them. And then you got to find a way to navigate that weeks 3 through 7 stretch. Because if you can get through there and you're 3-4 and you go to Denver week 8 and you come out of there with a win, you're at 500 going into the bye week. Whereas if you can find a way to win the first 2 and then you get 2 out of those 5 games that I'm talking about in that weeks 3 through 7 stretch, and you come out of that thing 4-3, now you're playing with house money going to Denver in week 8. You win that game, you're 5-3 heading into the bye week. So it's really huge what we do in the first 2 weeks, because it's going to set the tone for then what happens the following 5 weeks thereafter. And if you want to be playing meaningful football in week 10 coming off the bye, I think you got to start with weeks 1 and 2 and what you do at home against opponents that you feel like you should be able to compete with and find a way to beat. So yeah, I think that's going to be pretty huge, man, when it's all said and done. Got another super chat. This one is from. This one is from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. DCJ writes, "What's good, Lou? If Washington football team stays healthy like last season, the schedule is mad favorable to make a move this year. Plus, we legit match up with most teams." I wish I could co-sign on that. But look, if we stay healthy as you just described, we're going to have a chance in every single game on this schedule. They're in one game. That includes the Chiefs. They're in one game on this schedule that I say, oh, that's an ass whooping. Like last year, you know, I didn't expect much of this team. And I don't, to a certain degree this year, don't expect much from this team either. I'm not as morbid about the season. Like last year, I was convinced that we were going to have a losing record and that we were going to compete hard for Ron because that's the kind of coach he is and the culture that he was instilling. But I thought we were going to finish the season 6-10, 7-9, and we ended up finishing the season at 7-9. But I didn't think it was going to result in a division win either, and it did. That said, there were games on the schedule that I said we don't have a chance. Like the Ravens game, I'm like, we can get our ass whooped, and we did. I never felt like we were in that game, despite what the final score may have said. I never felt like we had a chance in that game. I thought that the Rams game was going to be really tough. It was a winnable game, but I thought it was going to be tough. And that probably was the most excruciating game to watch from a start to finish standpoint. It was wet. It was nasty. We looked disinterested. We were undisciplined defensively. It was the worst offensive performance, especially the second half, I think I might have ever seen from a Washington football team on the field. We couldn't even pick up a first down. It was ridiculous. Alex Smith's first game back, it was a train wreck. I don't see any of those games on the schedule this year. Like, even the ones that I am fearful of their quarterback and the explosiveness of their offense, I'm still saying, I don't know if this who knows? Maybe our defense can slow them down a bit. Buffalo and Atlanta and Kansas City and Green Bay. Who knows? The defense may show up for those games and give us a shot. So I wouldn't say it's favorable. What I will say is it's doable. But we're gonna have to get off to a good start, I think. That's it for the psyche, for the confidence standpoint. We're gonna have to get off to a good start. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ. Fat American, double up, Thank you for doubling up, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, it's unfortunate for me as a fan because all I know is dysfunction. So now to see the team being ran professionally, it feels weird, but good. I'm glad you're getting to experience this. You need this, especially for the younger fans out there that were never exposed to this organization doing it the right way. You need this because what we're doing now is great, but it's on such a small scale. Like, the fact that we're getting excited about 7-9 and what that meant, like, I was legit excited. I understood the context of what we had just done. 7-9 isn't great. We won the division with a losing record. We were hosting a playoff game despite not winning more games than we lost. I was fully aware of that. And people were like, oh, you're bragging about 7-9? Damn right, we won the division. I wasn't bragging about how we won the division. I was bragging at the fact that we did win the division. I don't give a shit what the record was. We won the division. We were the best. Even if it was the best of the worst, we were the best in our division. I'm celebrating that because it doesn't happen often around here. So it's unfortunate, as you mentioned, that all you've known in your fandom of this team is dysfunction. So you don't know how to act. You don't know how to operate in this space right now. You want to go full head first into the deep end of what Ron Rivera is doing right now, but you're scared, and you should be. I get it. You've anytime you've trusted a coach or the direction that we've been going in, before you land in that water, it's been sucked dry, and you land in a pool void of any water, and you hurt yourself every single time. You go crashing at the bottom of that pool, and it hurts. So I get it. But all you can do is continue to be Charlie Brown and hope that this time the football isn't pulled from under you as you go to kick it. But you can't stop trying to kick the football. So it feels good, but it is weird for some of you. But this is how it's supposed to be. We shouldn't be praising Ron for doing the things that he's supposed to do, but because we've been so brainwashed and warped to thinking that, anything is good. Now that we've got something that looks good and looks professional, we're over the moon because everything we've seen has been unprofessional. And that's a shame. But I'm glad because slowly Ron has to pull off that exterior that a lot of you have in this wall that you've built up. And I get it. Again, I'm one of these people with a semi-wall built up, but I trust in Ron. That's why I talk about Ron's plan. But you need to understand that we still got a ways to go. And what we're doing is we're being professional on a small scale. We still haven't won anything of note. We still don't know if Ron's plan is actually going to manifest itself into major wins for this organization. But because we've been exposed to such mediocrity, and really, that's being generous, we've been exposed to such poor organizational skills for so long, anything that comes along, we're desperate. And that's what I always used to say, because of how desperate we've been to get a quarterback. Some of you are so desperate, you're willing to eat dog food. They offer up any quarterback, and it's dog food, and you're willing to consume it. And I'm like, don't lower your standards so low that you'll settle for anything. A wise man once told me, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And as fans, some of you out there are so desperate for a quarterback, so desperate to win, that you're willing to stoop to these low levels. You're setting the bar so low because you're so afraid of setting the expectations high because you don't think they're going to reach them. And I'm here to tell you, you got to set the bar high. It's a process, and that's what I keep telling you guys. It's a process. But you got to set the bar high and not be afraid to fail. And that's the approach I'm taking this year, is I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm setting the bar high for this team. I'm not going to be satisfied with 7-10 or 8-9 this year. It's probably more likely a realistic possibility. And probably, in all likelihood, that's going to be the outcome of our season, is somewhere in that 8-9 win range. But I'm not looking for that. But you got Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, so you have to temper your expectations. But that's not going to stop me from setting the bar high for the defense, setting the bar high for the offense individually and saying, hey, let's see some vast improvements here. We got weapons now. Let's see this offense score 30 multiple times this season. That's not going to stop me from saying, all right, Chase, let's see what you got. Let's ramp this thing up to double-digit sacks, you and Montez. That's not going to stop me from setting the bar high individually, but collectively as a group, we're going to see. But I'm just so glad that some of you are being exposed to this because you've never really seen this before. And that's a shame. It really is. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Thank you for doubling up. Chilled Dude, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Chilled Dude. Greatly appreciate you. Chilled Dude writes, this is the 5th toughest schedule, in my opinion. We are in year 2 in rebuild. Not going to go crazy, but we see a light at the end of the tunnel finally. Playoffs, maybe. That's kind of where I am, Chilled Dude. I think that's a perfect way to explain and sum up what I just said, which is it's a tough schedule. I don't know what to expect, but I'm not going in with the bar set extremely low like I was last year. and hoping that we just either meet it or barely clear it. I'm setting the bar high. I'm not. My expectations aren't like, oh, we got to make the playoffs this year. I talked to some people, 11-6, 12-5 this year. Okay, that's cool. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, but my mind is open to anything because I think we're fully capable of surprising some teams if the offense is that much better and the defense takes that next step, which I don't know if any of those things are going to happen, but I know that they're possible. And so I'm going to set the bar high for this team and hope that they hit it. And I'm not going to be super disappointed if they don't. I will be disappointed, but not super disappointed, And so, because it's year 2 of the rebuild, as you just said. Like, I didn't expect Ron to come in here and turn this thing over in one season. And a lot of you seem to think that that's what's going to happen. He had last year. We won the division. Now he's in year 2. He's gonna take us to the playoffs, our second year in a row, and we're gonna do some damage. I'm not too sure about that, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. I'm not too sure about that. We'll see. But that's the thing that's exciting is we do see light at the end of the tunnel. And that's something we couldn't say in the past. We can say that now, and it feels damn good to be able to say that. Thank you for the super chat, chilled dude. Washington football fan WGIL, thank you for the super chat. Double up, thank you for doubling up. And Washington football fan WGIL writes, Lou, what would be an ideal location to have training camp? Richmond again? I know they were talking about re-upping with Richmond potentially. I know a lot of people did not like Richmond. The facility was not meant to house a football team. When it would rain, they would have to cancel practice. They don't have an indoor facility. It's not an ideal place for them to have training camp. Honestly, if we're keeping it a buck with one another. That said, Richmond is convenient, for everybody to get to that are fans locally. It's very convenient because it's kind of, it's a little further for the people that are in the Maryland area and up towards D.C. But if you're in Northern Virginia like myself, and there are a ton of fans in Northern Virginia, or you're in the 757 like I used to be, it's not that far of a drive for you. So I would prefer them to just have training camp in Ashburn, personally. You got the bubble, so if it rains, you can still have practice. You can get the work that you really need. I would prefer them to be in Ashburn, but we'll see what they decide to do because the NFL has given the teams the green light to go and have training camp at an off-site this year if they so choose like they used to in the past. So we'll see what Washington decides to do. Thank you for that super chat. Washington football fan WGIL. Got another one here from DCJ. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, still not sold. Washington football team can score 30 points plus consistently, but at least 26. Also, can Washington football team live up to the hype overall? Each team gonna test RD every week. No cupcake. Straight facts. And that's why I said the defense is going to be the reason we're going to have a chance. Like the offense, it's going to be nice if they could put up 30 plus on multiple occasions this year. That'd be very helpful. But as you mentioned, especially that 5-week stretch of Buffalo, Atlanta, Saints, Chiefs, Packers, you're seeing high octane offense after high octane offense. The defense is going to have to slow them down to give the offense any chance of survival. Like, if we're giving up 38 a game in those contests, you're asking a lot of this offense. If we can reduce those offenses to 24 or 27, at least you give yourself a chance against those offenses. So the defense is going to have to be the catalyst, and that's how I felt, that's how I feel, and that's how I'm going to remain and continue to feel. Because that's what I feel like we're going to have to hang our hat on. We spent all that draft capital on the defense for a reason. They've got to carry us. And we'll see. This year is going to be a true test of that for sure, DCJ. I agree. Thank you for that super chat, DCJ. Got another super chat. This one is from DCJ as well. Thank you for tripling up, DCJ. Greatly appreciate you. My guy DCJ writes, low bar, 6 to 10 wins. High bar, 12 wins. Healthy for sure. I wouldn't consider 10 wins to be low. I think the low bar is 7 or 8 wins. I think 9 is a good season, honestly. And I think 10 is outstanding for year 2 of Ron. Honestly, with a 17-game schedule, if you get to 10-7, I think that's a really positive season. That's a +3 in the win column from a season ago. That's hard to do in this league, honestly speaking. So you win 3 more games than you did the year before. That speaks volumes as to the improvement of this football team if we can do that. So I think low bar would be 8, anything 7 or less. I think 8 to 9 wins is setting the bar at medium height. And I think 10 or above, double-digit wins or more, I think is a high mark. I'm setting it at around 10. That's where I would like us to be. But, again, I don't anticipate them hitting it, but we're going to see. I'm not going to count them out of anything. It's a tough schedule, though. So we'll see what happens. And health is of the utmost importance. If we can't stay healthy, I don't think we stand a chance. Even though we've built this roster to be able to withstand some injuries and have the depth to keep us competitive, health is going to be of the utmost importance, as I mentioned. Thank you for that super chat, DCJ. Got another one here from Brandon Hayes. Thank you for the super chat, Brandon Hayes. Greatly appreciate you. And thank you for doubling up. Double up. Brandon Hayes. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Brandon Hayes, writes, battered/abused, we're here now. Sun will shine on our dog's ass this season. I hope that is the case. But we're definitely battered and bruised and abused. And we're ready for our time, man. We're ready for our time. We're ready to stop hiding in the shadows because of the abuse. We're ready to come out and enjoy some of this sun. So hopefully that is in fact the case this year. We will see, but that's what I'm hoping. Thank you for that super chat, Brandon Hayes. So you come out of the bye week. It's Carolina. I talked about wanting to get that game for Ron. You're hoping to be either at 500 or above it going into the bye week. You come out of that bye week. More likely than not, that's probably a loss at home versus Tampa. I'm not counting anything as a loss. But it's Tampa Bay, it's Tom Brady, it's an explosive Buccaneer. I don't know what they're going to look like in Week 10. They could be struggling at Week 10. They could be injured at Week 10 for all we know. But if they are what we think they're going to be, that's going to be a tough one either way. I want Week 11 at Carolina for Ron. It's his first time back in Carolina. Want to get that one bad. Then you get to our last 2 non-divisional games of the season in Weeks 12 and 13. And we'll go back and talk about primetime games. But we've got our second primetime game of the season, Week 12, on Monday night. So let me just tell you this. We are guaranteed to have 2 primetime games. I told you guys probably 3 or 4 months ago we were going to have 3 primetime games this year. And I remember my guy DCJ very vividly saying, I don't want any parts of Sunday night. For whatever reason, we don't play well on Sunday night. We'll do Monday night. Or excuse me, he said, I don't want any parts of Monday night. I don't mind Sunday night. I don't mind Thursday, but I don't want any parts of Monday for whatever reason. We just don't play well on Monday. And that's been the case. That's a known fact around these parts. Monday, for some reason, isn't good to the good guys. But that said, we got the Seahawks on a Monday night in Week 12. That's a guaranteed prime timer as well as Week 2. We have another prime timer in Week 16. That's not a guarantee. That could easily be flexed out of that slot. We'll talk about that when we get there. But Seahawks at home on a Monday night. So we got 2 home primetime games. I'm excited about that. Because after some of the debacles recently in Washington on primetime television, I was afraid that they wouldn't give us these games at home. I thought they would punish us and say, all right, we may let you back on the national stage, but you got to go on the road. They gave us 2 of them, so that's great. I want a little bit of revenge against Seattle. I thought that was a game that slipped through our fingers. That was a very winnable game, so I'd like to see us go and get that one. Week 13 at Vegas for the Raiders. Another winnable game. That one should be fun. Haven't been to Vegas yet as a team. One of my best friends is a Vegas fan. I may actually try to see, that's right around Christmas time, I may try to see if we can't make it a weekend. Head to Vegas, kick it on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, maybe catch a college football game that weekend. I know that's late in the college football season. We may not be able to catch a college football game because that should be right around bowl weekend. If not, that might be the weekend of Army-Navy. That's it. Whatever. Kick it, have a great time, and then go to the game on Sunday. I'm going to call him and ask him about that. Week 14 at Dallas, and now we're starting that stretch of games, okay? The vaunted, dreaded 5 for 5. 5 games, 5 NFC East teams to wrap up the season. Home, 2 roadies, home, finish up on the road. So at home for Dallas, this is the first time we'll see the Cowboys all season in Week 14. That'll be a big one. Whether they're good, we're good, or whatever the case is, it'll be a big one because it's Dallas. We want to beat them. Week 15 will be the first time we see the Eagles. That one is on the road, at the Link. Now, notice on the schedule it says December 18th or 19th to be determined. So what that means is they have the ability there to flex that game to either Sunday, if we're not good, or Saturday. That could be a Christmas game, okay? Or not Christmas. That could be a Saturday game. Remember, late in the season, you start to get Saturday games. So they're leaving that date open, and they could flex us either way. If Eagles-Washington in Week 15 is a matchup between the 9-4 Philadelphia Eagles and the 10-3 Washington football team, they're going to put that game on Saturday. That's going to turn into a primetime type matchup. If it's 7-6 Philadelphia against 8-5 Washington, they're going to make that game a Saturday game. They're going to flex that thing, and we're going to be playing another primetime game against the Eagles on a Saturday. If the Eagles are 4-9 and Washington is 5-8, they're going to make that a Sunday game in obscurity at 1:00 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. They're not going to subject everyone to that nonsense. So that's why you see those 2 dates there. If we're good, if they're good, if that game is meaningful, they're going to put it on Saturday. If we stink, they stink, they're going to make that a Sunday game. 1:00, y'all play that out in obscurity where only your fan base is watching. So that's an interesting one. We'll see when we get there what that game turns into. Week 16, we're at Dallas on Sunday Night Football. So that's the day after Christmas. It's a big spot. I would love that to be, 11-4 Washington, or 11-3 Washington, or 10-4 Washington at 9-5 Dallas. I would love that to be the matchup in Week 16. And that game stay right where it is as a big matchup on Sunday Night Football. But in all reality, if that's 2 bad teams or one of us stinks, they're going to flex that baby right out of there. And we'll only have 2 primetime games. So that's the one that can move. If we're not good, they're not good, that game could get flexed very easily. So that's one to keep an eye on. But that'll be Dallas twice in a 2-week span. And then the following week, we go home for the Eagles. That's the Eagles twice in a 2-week span. Or a 3-week span, So Dallas twice in 3 weeks. Eagles twice in 3 weeks. I don't like that. I don't like playing a team twice in a 3-week span. Just saw these bastards, and now they're coming back again. Whatever the case may be, you got no choice. And that's one we need to have at the crib. It's our last home game of the season, so that's a big one. At home versus the Eagles, Week 17. And then finally, Week 18, you finish up with the team that you started your division play with all the way back in Week 2, the New York Football Giants, to wrap up the season at the Meadowlands. I hate that spot for us, honestly. If if the season comes down to that game, that's a toughie because we just, for whatever reason, the Meadowlands have not been kind to us over the years. So this will be the second year in a row, week 17, or in this case, week 18, the final week of the season. They've sent us on the road. Last year it was for all the marbles. Who knows what it will be for this year, but it's not at home. That's for sure. Just like it wasn't at home last year. So I look at this schedule, and honestly, the first 7 games, that's where it's at. Your make or break. The first 2 right out of the gate, I'm gonna dice this season up into 3 to 4 separate sections, but not the 4 you normally do of, first quarter weeks 1 through 4, second quarter weeks 5 through 8, and then third quarter. I'm not doing that. The first block is weeks 1 and 2. Gotta have a split, no worse than a split, but really you want both of those games. Weeks 3 through 7 is my next block, my next quarter, if you will. Gotta come out of that thing at 3 and no worse than 3 and 4, but you would love to come out of that thing at 4 and 3. Okay, but no worse than 3 and 4 heading into that Denver game in week 8. Then my next block of games is from week 8 to week 13. So Denver, right before the bye, come out of the bye, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Seattle, Raiders. What you do in the first 7 weeks is going to determine what those next 5 weeks of games looks like. Because if we come out of week 7 riding a 4-game losing streak or a 3 out of 4 game losing streak, having lost the last 2, and we're sitting at 2 and 5 playing Denver on the road, your season could be over before the bye at week 6. You come out of that thing and you're 4 and 3 heading into the Tampa game, coming fresh out of a bye. Who knows what you could be looking at? 4 and 3 could be 4 and 4, or 5 and 3. Who knows what you're looking at? And then my final block of the season, obviously, is the 5 straight division games to wrap up the season. I don't know what position we'll be in at that point, but if we come into that stretch, that final stretch of games at 6 and 6, well, then that means these final 5 games of the season are massive. It's make or break time. If we come into this final stretch of games, all 5 of them, 6 and 6, and let's say we beat the Giants and we're 1-0 in the division. Well, everything we want is still in front of us, including potentially a division crown, because all the division games are staring us right in our face. We come into this stretch at 3 and 9. Well, these final 5 games mean diddly poo squat. They don't mean a damn thing. So, the first 2 quarters of the season are massive. And I'm not diminishing quarter 3, which is week 8 through week 13. I'm not diminishing that. But the season could be done by the time we get to the third quarter if we don't take care of the first 2 quarters of the season. So, it's a tough schedule, but it's fair. It's tough, but fair. So, let me see if there are any more super chats. Got one here from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think that's 3rd or your 4th super chat of the night. No, it's at least your 3rd. I think it's your 4th, though. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ, who writes, the question on Fitz or Taylor in the decision-making process of playing quarterback this year. Washington football team has legit weapons on offense and on the line. Unlike last year, no quarterback and low talent. Exactly. It's a different squad this year. They upgraded the skill positions. We went into last year with a question mark at running back, a question mark at tight end, and only one true threat at wide receiver. And we were counting on Steven Sims Jr. to be our number 2 receiver, if you can believe that now. It's almost comical looking back on the fact that we were relying on Steven Sims as a number 2. But that's where we were last year. Think about how different this year is compared to last year, where we're looking at Logan Thomas and putting our hands together and praying that he gives us something at the tight end position. And Tamarick Hemingway and Marcus Ball and Jeremy Sprinkle. That's what we were looking at tight end last year. At the running back position, we drafted this dude that rarely played running back in college, was more of a wide receiver. We got J.D. McKissick, but he can't stay healthy. And we got Peyton Barber. And we're praying that we can get something out of
the kid from Stanford, Bryce Love, and that was the running back position. And then, oh yeah, you just got Terry and Steven Sims at receiver. That literally was what we had. And we had to get excited about that on offense. And a coordinator that hadn't called a full season's worth of games in Scott Turner. That's what we had to get excited for last year. Think about where we are now. Jaron Christian was starting at left tackle last year, kicking off the season. Think about where we are right now. Wes Martin, the battle of the Wesses. Wes Martin and Wes Schweitzer at left guard last year. Think about how far we've come offensively, just looking at the skill positions and the left side of the offensive line. It's night and day. So it's definitely a totally different feeling going into this season versus last season. Thank you for that super chat. Got another one. This one is from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I think this is your 5th super chat of the night. Greatly appreciate you, DCJ, who writes, I'm sick. No rematch on Turkey Day, but go Raiders. I told you, I don't want the Thanksgiving game. Let me eat my damn Thanksgiving meal in peace. Please. Don't have me on edge. Don't have me, biting my nails, have my food upset in my stomach because it's a nail biter, later on in the evening. Let me eat my food in peace. And let me, like you said, go Raiders. Let me root for the Raiders to get a dub on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. I'm with you, DCJ. Go Raiders. I'm with you on half of your comment. Go Raiders. I didn't want any parts of Dallas on Thanksgiving. I'm good. Yeah, I take my Dak Prescott list Cowboys on Thanksgiving, do those boys in, and go back to my regularly scheduled programming. I'll take Dak Prescott on a Sunday night late in the season if it means something, or I'll take Dak in week 14 at the crib and try to get him in. But I didn't want any parts of Dallas on Thanksgiving. I'm good. DCJ, thank you for the super chat, 6th super chat of the night. Really appreciate you, who writes, I heard all rookies signed, go get that free safety McCain. Yes, Jamin Davis signed his contract today, which completed Washington's 10-player rookie draft class. I love it. I love the fact that we got all those guys inked before the rookie minicamps that are taking place this weekend. So you're going to get all those guys here under contract, in the building, and we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Not to say that that's ever an issue with the rookie wage scale, the way it's set up. It shouldn't be an issue, but it's just good to know that all those guys have signed on the dotted line. As far as McCain is concerned, I don't think we need him personally. I don't think he would be a significant upgrade personally. I think he would be great depth, another guy to add to the mix, but we already have a bunch of guys that provide depth, and I told you last year, I wasn't displeased with what we got out of the safety position. It just didn't stay healthy there. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for that super chat, DCJ. So let's go ahead and wrap up the show and take any final super chats that we may have and get out of here. So I got a comment here from my guy Sean Mack. What's going on, Sean Mack? Greatly appreciate you. My man Sean Mack writes, thank you for the super chat, writes, 10-7 record at best. And that may be right around where they are, and I would take 10-7. Right now, I would take it. It says Canelo versus who? Who you want? You know what? I don't really know. I've lost confidence in boxing in terms of them making the best possible fight. Seems like Canelo, his last 3 or 4 fights, has fought essentially nobodies. Guys that I don't want to call Saunders nobody. Hey, you didn't think he was really going to lose to him, did you?
He didn't. I didn't. Like, all these guys that he's fighting, none of these guys I think have a legitimate shot at beating him. And Saunders hit him with a few good punches, but at the end of the day, I never once in my mind going into the fight or even watching it said that he's going to lose this fight. I don't know if we ever get back to the 80s where everybody fights everybody. These promoters are too entrenched in the sport now, and they're giving these guys advice as to how to stay with the best possible record instead of making the best possible fights for the consumers. And they want to know why the sport is where it is and why it's a distant second in terms of any kind of physical sport. When you're talking about fighting, it's a distant second to UFC now. I really feel that way. People care more about UFC than they do boxing, unless it's some kind of a sideshow like this nonsense that they're going to do with Floyd Mayweather and the Paul dude, Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whichever brother it is. I lose track because it's bullshit. And people are going to go buy it, and that's the shit that people are on now. It's turned the sport into a spectacle. I just want to see the best fight the best. But we don't ever get that anymore. So I don't know who I would like to see him fight. You know, we talked about him fighting Caleb Plant. Highly unlikely. And honestly, I don't think he would be able to beat him. Plant, that is, because I don't think he has enough power. And I don't know if he's good enough to outpoint him. You know, I think Canelo at some point is going to land a shot on him and put him down. But I don't know. I don't know who he should fight next. Because I don't think it's going to happen. I don't really like talking about having these discussions because I don't think they're going to happen, personally. You know, too many times we've waited for big fights and they never happen. So, I don't get my head. Who do you want to see him fight? I'll ask you. Because I don't think it's going to happen regardless. I don't know, honestly. Anyway, I digress. DCJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. 6th super chat of the night. Really appreciate you, DCJ Windshield Wiping, who writes, I'm not worried about the LA Chargers, but all the other elite quarterbacks, big concerns, but the only squads I legit feel like a loss are KC and the Bucks. Otherwise, we okay. I'm not counting any games as a legit loss, but those games are a lot tougher than the other ones, but I'm not counting out Rodgers and Green Bay. I'm not counting out Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. I'm not counting out Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm not counting out Matt Ryan and the Falcons. I'm not counting out Mahomes and the Chiefs. I'm not counting out Tom Brady and the Bucks. These are all tough games. I'm not counting out Herbert and the Chargers. I'm not counting out Derek Carr and the Raiders. These are all good quarterbacks in this league. Some better than others, but they're all upper tier quarterbacks with the exception of Derek Carr. But he's no slouch, okay? So, and Dak, throw Dak in there too. He's a hell of a quarterback too. All of those are tough games, period, end of discussion. It could go either way. Some, again, more so than others, but all of those games are tough, period. Anyway. All right. That's it. We've hit 2 hours. Got no more super chats. I am your man, Louie T. And I'm going to glide to the side and allow you guys to enjoy the rest of your evening. I thank you guys for joining me tonight. I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to the beloved Washington football team. Remember, if you are a card collector or you're just interested in watching me unbox and go through this journey that I'm about to embark upon, the CCS is about to get underway here. The card collector series here on the Louie T Network. It's something new that I'm going to do. I would love for you guys to come on this journey with me as I get back into the world of card collecting, something I enjoyed doing for much of my childhood. I stopped, and now I'm getting back into the game, and I'd love for you guys to take that ride with me. So that's something that's coming down the pipeline. If you're interested in that, I'd love for you to come along on this journey with me. So be on the lookout for that in the next coming weeks. The podcast will be up and running tomorrow on Friday, as we'll talk about any and everything surrounding the National Football League. But in terms of the Washington football team, we've got the minicamp coming up this weekend. One of the players that were coming as undrafted guys to try out had COVID. So the 5 players that were going to come to try out, they have all been sent home, essentially like, all right, we're just going to do the dudes that we drafted and some of the guys that were eligible from last year. So it's going to be a smaller group, but nonetheless, I'm excited about those guys getting out there. We'll get pictures of Jamin Davis and all these guys in their practice garb for the first time in the burgundy and gold. So be on the lookout for that this weekend. We'll keep tabs on the the McCains of the world and guys like that that are out there that could potentially be here in Washington. And if anything breaks, you know, I will be in front of you on your monitor or device or whatever you're watching this on, whatever your preferred method is. But until then, I am your man, Louie T. Get off the bench and get in the game and join me, your man, Louie T, as we continue to talk about the National Football League in all of its splendor, including the burgundy and gold. Until next time, I'm your man, Louie T, saying adios. God bless and good night. You guys take care.